everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is the first video of 2019, so welcome back, and I hope you're enjoying your new year so far. Today we've got Mazda MX-5, the NB from 1999. So this is my personal MX-5, or in the States they call it a Miata. It's the same car. And today we're going to be going through the pros and cons of owning a 1999 Mazda MX-5. I believe the best way to start this list is to tell you guys just how well this car handles. It's phenomenal. I've never been in a car that's so responsive, and I've driven, again, a lot of cars, especially Japanese cars. This car is so light and it's just so responsive. It's unbelievable. It makes for a great car to take through the hills, and an even better car to take on the track. Because it's so light, the brakes work really well because it's not having to stop a lot of weight compared to most other cars. And the suspension setup is really good as well because there's next to no body roll. Also, one aspect of this car, and arguably another pro, that helps this car handle so well is the fact that this is rear-wheel drive, and it makes a difference. It's such a fantastic car to turn around corners because all of that understeer that you would traditionally get in a front-wheel drive just isn't here with this rear-wheel drive car. While we're on the pros, another really great thing about the MX-5 is that they were available with a turbo. Now, of course, this car doesn't have a turbo because I am not allowed to drive a turbo yet. However, I've been told that these cars are quite easy to turbo, and hopefully we'll find out just how easy in one of our upcoming videos. Get excited. The turbos were a special edition. They were called the Mazda Speed, and the turbo made a huge difference to how quick this car could go. The one thing that has always made all generations of the MX-5 great, and the philosophy that this car was built on, is the fact that it weighs next to nothing. As a matter of fact, this car that I'm driving right now weighs less than 1 metric ton. That's less than 1,000 kilograms. This actually weighs 980 kilos, and you can tell this thing is so forgiving. Being a manual, it's so incredibly hard to stall, and even when it comes close, it's so easy to bring back. Hence why I really do recommend this kind of car if you are starting out on learning a manual. I learned to drive manual with this car, and I was by no means a great manual driver. I'm still not the best, but it is such a forgiving car. And if you are a bit skeptical on buying a manual, honestly, don't be afraid to buy one of these in manual. And honestly, it'd be a crime to buy one of these in an automatic because they just weren't designed to be an auto. Why would you want an automatic MX-5? Makes no sense. The MX-5, of course, being Japanese, and like most other Japanese cars, has an extensive aftermarket selection. Now, the MX-5 probably more so than the others. Even the older generation MX-5, still very easy to find new parts for, especially if you're looking at shops based in Japan or, funnily enough, the UK. Parts of this car very easy to come by, but most of them though tend to be just your style parts, or your spoilers, body kits, things that I guess are more aftermarket-y more than performance. However, performance parts can still be found new, but there's not so much of a wide selection there as there is with your aftermarket parts. Now, the elephant in the room. This car is a convertible. It is so good to drive in summer, or even those hot summer nights as well, because I'm in Australia, so you'd get sunburn when you had the top down. But anyway, the convertible just makes this already fun car 10 times more fun. You've got the whole world around you, and I'm sure you've heard the joke before that you can move anything in an MX-5. It's true. You take that roof off and you can take planks of wood in the passenger seat. It really is quite a fantastic feature of this car. Now, it was available with a hardtop for those who weren't a fan of the convertibles. They are, however, becoming quite hard to find these days, so good luck with that. My favourite thing about this particular MX-5 being a manual is just how tight the gearbox is. It's incredible. It's a real genuine pleasure to row through the gears on this car. Even if you're in the city or in an area with really congested traffic or peak hour or whatever, it's still a real pleasure to be able to row through those gears 1 to 5 and then 5 all the way back to 1 again. It's so tight. It makes you feel so much more involved in the car than what it would be if you were driving an automatic. So please, if you are considering getting an MX-5, get the manual. On to the cons now, and we start with the biggest con about the MX-5 in probably all generations apart from your turbos. It's just the lack of power. These are slow cars, unfortunately. However, if that bothers you, I think you're sort of missing the point, because these cars aren't about speed. It's about handling and enjoying the drive and being involved in the drive. You know, it's not the speed of this car that makes the car fun. It's the handling, it's the convertible, it's the rear wheel drive, it's the lightness. Those are the kinds of things that make an MX-5. An MX-5 has never been built on the fact that it's a fast car. Now, this car has a 1.8 litre 4-cylinder in it. Believe it or not, these cars were, for some reason, available in a 1.6 litre. And now I've driven both the 1.8 and I also drove a NA 1.6 litre. The 1.6 litre was slow. Unfortunately, so is the 1.8. It is more powerful than the 1.6 though, but even with small cars like Holden Cruise or cars that are just not seen as fast, like Mitsubishi Mirages and stuff like that, this wouldn't necessarily have them from the get-go. This is just not a quick car. So if the speed factor bothers you, you've got one of two choices. You can either buy another car with more power, or you can turbocharge it. Secondly, this car is not what you would call a family car. This car is purely just for fun, or your daily commute to work and back. If all you've got to take to work is a briefcase and yourself, then maybe that'll work. But for your long family holidays, your road trips, your trips to Sunday morning church as a family, this car is not going to cut it. It has only 2 seats and one of the smallest boots that I've ever seen in a car ever. So if you're looking for a family car, I couldn't recommend the MX-5. Now, being so small, this car is for some reason so hard to see on the road, according to all the SUV drivers out there. Just last week I was driving up on the highway and I was sitting in my left lane, and someone in the right lane tried to get into the left lane here and completely cut me off, almost wiping out the front of my car. Now, of course, being so small and me being in their blind spot, they probably did have the excuse that they couldn't see me. However, sometimes I wonder how good a driver these people really are. But it goes without saying that there are idiots on the road and people aren't always aware of their surroundings. And if you get someone in their SUV and they want to change lanes and they don't see you for some reason, being that you're so small, then unfortunately you're going to get more than 1 or 2 people cut you off every now and then. Last con is the lack of boot space in this car. It's got none. It's got none. What is in the boot is a battery, because they didn't put the battery under the hood, and a little tiny piece of carpet to finish it off. I don't think Mazda ever intended for you to actually put anything in the boot, because it's so shallow. Even if you had your weekly shop for yourself and no one else, you still struggle to get it in there. You'd be better off putting your shopping in the passenger seat. Look, it doesn't bother me because I use this car purely for fun and I don't really go out and do the shopping in it. But it's still something to consider if you're, single, living by yourself, and still have to do the weekly shop, and this is your only car. best of luck to you fitting it all in. And that is going to be that for today's video. Look, I do apologize if this video has been a little bit less enthusiastic than others. I just had a wisdom tooth pulled yesterday, so I'm not feeling 100%. However, this is definitely not the last that we're going to be seeing of the MX-5. This is going to be the car that we're working on this summer. Anyway, from me, thank you so much for tuning in to another one of my videos. This has been the MX-5. I hope this video has been helpful. Like, subscribe, drop a comment down below of what you want to see next, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.